In this section, we're going to be solving exponential equations, and we're going to actually look at two different methods that you can use to solve exponential equations. So the first method that I have here, it says to rewrite each side with the same base, then to set your exponents equal to each other. The thing about this method is it doesn't work for you all of the time. It's only going to work when you have certain combination of numbers. The second method that we're going to end up looking at will actually be a method that will work for all exponential equations. But make sure that you can work them both ways, because on test, it'll specify, which way I want to see you work it. Okay, the first one that we're going to look at, and remember, we're doing this by rewriting both sides with the same base. Alright, so what you got to recognize when you look at this, first of all, your base that's on your left is a 5, and the base that you have on the right hand side is 125. So we need those bases to be the same. So typically, if you'll go to the larger base first and see if you can rewrite this base using the smaller base, then that would be the option that you go with. Sometimes you have to rewrite both bases though. So what's going to work for us here, my left side is going to actually stay the same, but I can rewrite 125 as 5 to the third power. Now that still will be raised to the x minus 1. But by rewriting the 125 as 5 to the third, then that gives me the same base on both sides. So at this point, you actually just work with your exponents. As the statement a while ago said, you're going to set your exponents equal to each other. So I'll have x plus 2 equals. Now when I'm pulling down my exponents here, this is a power to a power, so just going with your exponent rules, you have learned that you're to multiply those. So that would be 3 times x minus 1. And see, at this point you have just a very basic equation. So distribute your 3. Okay. Then I'm going to subtract x from each side. And then I will add 3 to each side. And of course then divide by 2. So my answer is 5/2. Now you can take your answer, substitute it back into the original equation for your x's, put it in your calculator and just check to see if you've done it correctly. These are not ones that you have to check. Okay, next one. Okay, on this one, again, getting our bases to be the same. So as I mentioned, kind of your thought process, go to your larger base and see if you can rewrite this base using the smaller base that you have. But it would, like in this case, my smaller base being a 4, can I rewrite 32 as 4 to a power? No, you can't raise 4 to a power and get 32. So that's going to tell you that you've got to rewrite both bases. And actually both of them you're going to need to take back to a base of 2. You can rewrite the 4 as 2 squared. And the 32 would be 2 to the 5th. So this one shows you rewriting both bases. Okay, so again, at this point, you just pull out your exponents, power to a power. Remember, you're going to multiply. Power to a power, multiply. Now, just like you saw in the previous example, you're going to end up distributing the 5, so you can go ahead and do that as you bring it down. Okay, now solve for x, so I'm going to subtract 5x from each side. And then divide by -1. So my answer is 25. Okay, next one. Okay, this is actually number 3. I had changed my examples a while ago, so if you want to keep your numbers going in sequence, this would be number 3. Okay, now on this one, a couple things we have to deal with that we haven't so far is, first of all, the fraction. Second of all, you've got the radical. What you're going to need to do here, first of all, let's rewrite the radical. So changing this over and writing it in exponential form, that would be 3 to the 1/3 power. Okay, then, and I'll come back and talk about this side in just a second. Okay, so that takes care of the radical. Then, because it's in the denominator, we do need to move it to the numerator, which, if you remember, changes the sign of your exponent. So in rewriting this side, I see that I'm getting a base of 3. Well, I can rewrite 9 with a base of 3. So this would be 3 squared, and then still raise it to the x. Okay, so again, power to a power, you need to multiply these two. Okay, so just pulling out your exponents. Now divide both sides by 2, so you're going to end up with negative 1/6 as your answer. So that one showed you, if you got a radical, you do have to rewrite the radical. If it's in the denominator, you do need to move it to the numerator. Okay, next one we're going to look at. So this will be number 4. Okay, now my bases are actually going to be the same on this one. I just wanted to go through one with you that has an E. I do need to rewrite this side, but just like the previous problem, I said if you've got a fraction, then you're going to end up needing to bring it from your denominator to your numerator. So that's going to cause my exponent to change to a negative 2x. But neither side do I have to do anything in particular with my bases because they're both e's. So you're ready just to pull out your exponents and set those equal to each other. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the x and then divide by negative 3. So my answer is negative 4/3.